1:15. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. The news edited by Romesh Piris and read by Soundithavam. The Prime Minister commends the support of Germany to Sri Lanka in numerous fields. The recycling initiative of Api Hedi Rata Hadamu launched in the parliamentary complex. The Parliamentary Council ratifies the President's nominees for independent commissions. The coronavirus tally on the increase. Nearly 45,000 people affected by Cyclone Buravi. The committee probing the Mahara prison riot records evidence for the second day. The US Vice President-elect names Lankan-American as policy advisor. In international news, 3 former US presidents vow to take the vaccine. And in sports cricket, Avishka Fernando keeps the Stallions unbeaten. The German ambassador to Sri Lanka, Holger Schubert, expressed hope that Sri Lanka would ease the import restrictions so that the trade between Sri Lanka and Germany would be further strengthened. He expressed these comments when he called on Premier Mahinda Rajapaksa at his Vijayarama residence. The discussion aimed at a number of specific topics, mainly on the controversial issue of import restrictions and its consequences to German-Sri Lankan trade. The envoy also assured the Prime Minister that Germany was here as a friend, ready to support whenever required. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Rajapaksa commended the support of Germany to Sri Lanka in numerous fields. The Parliamentary Council has approved the nomination made by the President for 5 independent commissions. Chaired by Speaker Mahinda Abeyewardene, the Parliamentary Council was convened in Parliament last evening. The President's nominees for the Election Commission, Public Services Commission, National Police Commission, Finance Commission and Commission to investigate allegations of bribery and corruption were approved by the Parliamentary Council. Accordingly, Nimal Punchiheva has been appointed as the new chairman of the National Election Commission. As per the 20th Amendment to the Constitution, the Election Commission will comprise 5 members instead of the 3 members under the 19th Amendment. The number of coronavirus cases reported in Sri Lanka rose to 26,038 yesterday, with the detection of 627 new cases. All 627 cases were linked to the Minuwangoda-Palyagoda COVID-19 cluster. The cluster accordingly increased to 22,488. 6,681 active COVID-19 cases are presently being treated at 56 hospitals across the island. The number of coronavirus recoveries surpassed 19,000 yesterday, with 728 discharged during the past 24-hour frame. Recoveries accordingly increased to 19,032. 433 individuals currently remain in hospital on suspicion of having contracted COVID-19. Meanwhile, the Director General of Health Services confirmed a short while ago that 5 more persons, including 1 woman who was infected with the COVID-19 virus, have passed away. The new development brings the total deaths from COVID-19 to 129. The number of persons affected by the inclement weather caused by the Buravi cyclone storm increased to close to 45,000 persons. The Disaster Management Centre said 44,848 persons of 13,368 families have been affected by the adverse weather. 50 homes have been destroyed, while 2,148 houses have been partially damaged by the Buravi cyclonic storm. The GMC said 10,559 individuals have been housed at 56 temporary shelters at present. The investigative committee appointed to look into the Mahara prison riot is scheduled to hand over its interim report to Justice Minister Ali Sabri on Monday. The committee appointed by the Justice Minister had visited the Mahara prison premises for the first time yesterday to record evidence and statements from the inmates. The committee is expected to visit the prison today as well in order to record statements from prison officers and convicted inmates. The 5-member committee is chaired by retired High Court Judge Sarojini Kusala Veeravardhana. The committee has been tasked with preparing a report on the facts underlying the incident, the parties responsible, action to be taken and recommendations to be taken to prevent such incidents. This news broadcast comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.
Sri Lanka Insurance Motor Plus Ladies Only, protecting you who drives our nation forward.
The United States Vice President-elect Kamala Harris has named her longtime advisor, Sri Lankan-American Rohini Kosoglu, as her domestic policy advisor. The Sri Lankan-American, whose parents, Dr. Vijay Devendran Ravindran and Shobana Ravindran, hail from Jaffna, played a crucial role in the Vice President-elect's national political career, serving as a senior advisor to Harris since 2017. Rohini Kosoglu is a resident fellow of the Institute of Politics at the Harvard University Kennedy School, where she is the first South Asian American woman to serve as the Chief of Staff in the US Senate. Field Marshal Parliamentarian Sarath Fonseca urged the government to solve the concerns of disabled soldiers free of politicization. MP Fonseca said, despite pledges by the Minister of Public Security to reduce the crime rate and eradicating the underworld, steps are yet to be taken. The MP pointed out that disabled veterans were disregarded, adding that veterans do not require political bias, pointing out that the President, who was at the time the Secretary of Defence, must provide solutions to aggrieved war veterans. That's local news.
Every morning, my drive is not just to work. I'm driving my nation's progress.
Sri Lanka Insurance Motor Plus Ladies Only. An exclusive motor insurance designed for you. Up to 75,000 rupees worth instant claim settlements within 3 working hours. Call and move facility. 24/7 roadside assistance. And accommodation cost reimbursements at an accident. Sri Lanka Insurance Motor Plus Ladies Only. Protecting you who drives our nation forward.
From Sri Lanka Insurance.
A mother knows the pain of each member of the family. Siddhalepa, the trusted relief for aches and pains.
An effective therapy for relief from cold, sneezing, flu, headaches, swelling due to toothaches, rheumatic, discomforts, and muscular aches and pains. Siddhalepa, the Veda Mahatmya in every home.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Veda Mahatmya.
The Ministry of Environment signed a memorandum of understanding with 2 private companies to launch an initiative Api Hadi Rata Hadamu to collect empty carbon pens and used toothbrushes for recycling. The Minister of Environment, Mahinda Amaravira, inked the MOU with the 2 private companies, Insi Cement and Atlas Sri Lanka, to support this event. 2 recycled drop boxes were presented to the parliamentary complex, including the Prime Minister's office, yesterday. The minister said that studies have revealed that disposable carbon pens and toothbrushes potentially cause significant environmental damage, and the recycling program will be launched in the coming weeks. Minister Amaravira stated that each school and state institution is to be given a specially designed drop box that could hold 2,000 used pens and 500 used toothbrushes. The first container designed for this purpose was presented to the Presidential Secretariat last week. That was the main news story.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Veda Mahatmya. Brush your teeth twice a day for healthy teeth and gums. Supiriviki and Kakulu, your trusted brands in oral care for many years.
Supiriviki Ayurvedic toothpaste for adults. Kakulu Ayurvedic toothpaste for kids. 9 Ayurvedic ingredients of Supiriviki will protect your teeth and strengthen your gums. Supiriviki and Kakulu, products from Siddhalepa.
Moving on to Watchlight. The commander of the army, Lieutenant General Shavendra Silva, says the Athalugama area may have to be isolated for a prolonged period of time if the residents do not cooperate with the health authorities. The army chief said the arbitrary conduct of certain people put the lives of others living in the Kalutara district at risk, stressing that such behaviour will not be condoned. That came to you in Watchlight. Moving on to a bulletin of world news in the headlines. 3 former US presidents vow to take vaccine. Oil producers agree to slight hike in output. And NASA to pay company $1 to collect moon rocks. 3 former US presidents say they are willing to be vaccinated against the coronavirus in a bid to address concerns about the safety of the newly developed vaccines. Former President Barack Obama said that he will be taking it when it's made for people who are at less risk. Obama added that he may end up taking it on TV or having it filmed so that people know that he trusts the vaccine. US media reports say former presidents George W. Bush and Bill Clinton also said through their spokespersons that they are willing to take a vaccine in order to urge Americans to do the same. OPEC member countries and Russia have agreed to slightly increase their oil output. The decision eases back on cuts introduced earlier this year. It comes amid an uptrend in prices fueled by positive developments for coronavirus vaccines. The Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries and non-OPEC nations held an online meeting yesterday to decide on output policies for next year. They agreed to add 500,000 barrels a day, effectively shrinking their production cut to 7.2 million starting next month. The National Aeronautics and Space Administration is paying a company $1 to collect moon rocks after it was accepted as a winning bidder. Colorado-based Lunar Outpost was awarded a contract to collect moon dirt for the U.S. Space Agency. It is one of the 3 contracts awarded by NASA under its low-cost lunar resource collection program. The other winning bidders were California-based Masten Space Systems and Tokyo-based iSpace. NASA will be paying the companies for individual collections of lunar regolith or moon soil between 50 grams and 500 grams in weight. Back to the headlines of the world news. 3 former U.S. presidents vow to take vaccine. Oil producers agree to slight hike in output, and NASA to pay company $1 to collect moon rocks. That concludes this bulletin of world news. Moving on to development news. The Urban Development, Coast Conservation, Waste Disposal and Community Cleanliness State Minister Dr. Nalaka Godaheva says the project to convert the Meetotamulla garbage dump to an urban park will be completed by 2023. He stressed that the Urban Development Authority will have to attract investors to have the urban park up and running at an estimated 1.7 billion rupees project expense. The Minister, Dr. Godaheva, observed a considerable workload has already been completed concerning the urban park. The garbage dumping site, which previously expanded up to 21 acres and more than 45 meters in height, has now been limited to 15 acres and 30 meters in height. That's development news. Moving on to sports. The Lanka Premier League 2020. The Jaffna Stallions secured an all-important 5-wicket victory over the Galle Gladiators in Game 9 of the 2020 Lanka Premier League to continue their unbeaten run at the top of the points table. The Gladiators, batting first, posted a respectable 170 for 6 in their 20 overs, with Danushka Gunatilaka top scoring with 56 or 44 balls. Chasing 171 runs for a win, Stallions batsmen performed well to seal victory in the final over. Avishka Fernando showed promise as he clinched yet another Man of the Match award for his knock of 84 runs or 54 balls, including 5 sixers and 7 fours. The Stallions continue to dominate the league. Meanwhile, Cricket West Indies has won the 2020 Christopher Martin Jenkins Spirit of Cricket Award for sending their men's and women's teams to tour England. The men's side arrived in June for a 3-test series when coronavirus infection rates in England were high. The women played a 2020 series in September at short notice after India and South Africa were unable to tour because of the pandemic. The MCC president and former Sri Lankan captain Kumar Sangakkara said the West Indies action truly embodied the spirit of cricket. That's sports news. We look at business news. Contributing towards the well-being of children who have lost parental care in Sri Lanka, leading private sector bank HNB PLC announced the launch of the Season of Giving fundraiser via its digital payment app Solo in support of the SOS Children's Villages. The bank stepped up efforts to raise funds for the organisation in response to the difficulties faced by the SOS Children's Villages in funding its operations during the COVID-19 pandemic. That's business news. Economic news up next.
Economic news, courtesy of...
Congratulations on your promotion. It will be our treat, huh?
How about today?
Oh no, I was just joking.
It's fine. I have my LOLC credit card with me. Let's go out today.
Introducing LOLC Finance Credit Cards. Fuel the goodness in you.
A memorandum of understanding signed between the government of Sri Lanka and the government of Japan recently has opened the doors to job opportunities in Japan for Sri Lankan youth with special skills in 14 areas. The areas are shipbuilding, machinery and aviation, electric, electronics and information, fishery and aquaculture, agriculture, construction, industrial machinery, machine parts and tools, care workers, building cleaning and management, automobile, food and beverage and hospitality industries. Passing the JLPT Level 4 and the Japanese Language Proficiency Test is mandatory for these specialized jobs. Skills and experience in the 14 areas will be considered favorably, and only the young people between the ages of 18 and 45 can apply for the jobs. More information on these specialized Japanese jobs can be obtained by visiting the Bureau's website www.slbfe.lk. That's economic news.
Hello, Buddha. Did you land already?
No, Amma. We're in transit and our flight got delayed.
Oh, really? How is Shani? Poor thing with her pregnancy. She might be feeling very uncomfortable. The airport must be heavily crowded because it's a season.
Amma, calm down. Everything is sorted. Why, I have my LOLC World Card with me. We are at the VIP lounge. There's nothing to worry.
Those who spread goodness radiate happiness to everyone around them. Introducing LOLC Finance Credit Cards. Fuel the goodness in you.
In the weather report, the Natural Hazards Early Warning Centre has issued a warning of rough seas and strong winds for the eastern, northern land and sea areas. According to the warning issued, the cyclonic storm Buravi over the Gulf of Mannar has weakened into a deep depression and located about 143 kilometers to the west-northwest of Mannar around 5:30 a.m. today. It is moving further away from the country. The wind speed will be 55 to 65 kilometers per hour, and the wind speed can increase up to 75 kilometers per hour at times in the sea areas extending from Puttalam to Mullaitivu via Mannar and Kangesanture. The deep and shallow sea areas of the coast extending from Puttalam to Mullaitivu via Mannar and Kangesanture can be very rough at times. Therefore, naval units and fishing communities have been asked to be vigilant in this regard. Meanwhile, the Met Department says showers or thundershowers will occur at times in the northern, north-central and northwestern provinces. Heavy rainfall above 100 millimeters can be expected at some places in the northern and northwestern provinces and in the Anuradhapura district. Several spells of showers may occur in the western, Sabragamu and central provinces and in the Gaul and Matara districts. The wind speed can increase up to 40 to 50 kilometers per hour at times in the northern, north-central and northwestern provinces. To conclude this bulletin of news, a recap of the headlines. The Prime Minister commends the support of Germany to Sri Lanka in numerous fields. The recycling initiative Api Hadi Rata Hadamu launched from the Parliamentary Complex. The Parliamentary Council ratifies the President's nominees for independent commissions. The coronavirus tally on the increase. Nearly 45,000 people affected by Cyclone Buravi. The committee probing the Mahara prison riot records evidence for the second day. The US Vice President-elect names Lankan-American as policy advisor. 3 former US presidents vow to take the vaccine. And Avishka Fernando keeps the Stallions unbeaten.